Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast, the football and pro wrestling podcast we bring you each and every week. It's Thursday. It's Thursday Tier Talk, or as we called it this week's Tiers Talk. But joining me as always, my co-host on this, the Dazzler himself.
That was rough.
I was on about Newcastle. I did that the other day. I wasn't even talking about Grimsby.
That was rough. Now, come on. Here's me thinking you're a pal of mine and you come out with that stuff. I've only, you got to go easy with me here.
I set that show up on Tuesday. Grimsby hadn't even happened.
Okay, let's go, Niall. Move on.
It was all about Newcastle anyway. Well, we've a good show tonight. We're going to do a Premier League preview. We're also going to take a look back at some of the talking points from the weekend as well. We'll take a quick rundown through the Carabao Cup third round draw. We'll also take a quick look at the Champions League. But before we begin, if you could subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button and drop a like on the video. Joanne is in. Big up, Joanne. How are you? Good to see you in there.
But before we begin, it's time for
a giant strawberry.
A giant strawberry. I thought there we go. I thought
they're a killer on the teeth. That's the only thing.
It is the only thing. There's a hell of a lot of sugar going on here. However, I won't say no.
No, absolutely not. The body of Christ compels you.
Oh, wow.
Right, before we get into the show, of course, we have to talk about the sad news today reaching us that League of Ireland legend and, of course, and Ireland Football Association of Ireland as well, Ollie Horgan, had sadly passed away at the age of 57. Finn Harp's legend, of course, and more recently, of course, with Galway United. And this was the statement put out by the League of Ireland this evening. Everyone at the League of Ireland and the Football Association of Ireland are deeply saddened by the passing of League of Ireland legend Ollie Horgan. Ollie was loved by so many around the league, where he was a legendary figure at Finn Harps and also left his mark more recently at Galway United. Our thoughts are with Ollie's family and friends at this time, and we absolutely add to that thoughts, prayers and condolences to everyone, close friends, family, everyone, and of course the greater football community here in Ireland. I'm sure we will talk more about Ollie Horgan on Monday with Mark. Mark had sent me some information on it as well, so we will chat on Monday about it as well. It doesn't go unnoticed. But rest in peace, Ollie Horgan, 57 years of age, no age at all. No age at all, so rest in peace.
Absolutely.
Right, before we get into the preview, quick look back. I'm just watching from the spa.
Don't say that about Niall.
You're just watching. There we go. Right, quick look back. These are the 6 that I picked for conversational purposes.
Yeah, topics.
Yeah. Kick us off. Give us your thoughts. Start wherever you want.
Well, we might as well start at the top. Listen, I think Bruno scores the penalty. We win the game. There's no blame on Bruno. Bruno has scored more than enough penalties to not take any blame when he misses one. And put 2 away in the shootout last night. Obviously, just one of those things. I think you could see when there was the little collision with the ref, it put him off ever so slightly. He knows himself. It shouldn't have been enough to distract him from the job at hand.
He should be laughing his balls off at that, shouldn't he, really? You should wash that aside. That should never even come into it.
Yeah, the performance was okay in the first half. Second half, when we made the changes, performance wasn't as good as I would have liked. I think a draw was probably a fair result, not the performance I would have wanted, Spurs, for me, with the shock of the weekend, really, really big result for Spurs, comfortably so. And your graphic there obviously shows one Paulinho, who was man of the match and got a goal, but was very, very good in the Spurs midfield. Kind of shone a light on what Spurs have been missing in that midfield, that kind of combative nature and stuff like that. Came straight back from Bayern in the Bundesliga and hit the ground running. I think it's funny that when you see, obviously, he went to Bayern and things didn't work out for him, but he popped back into the league with Spurs and he was just able to turn it on again. It just goes to show you how styles don't necessarily translate all the time. And his kind of all energy, all attack, physical, energetic kind of a play didn't work in the Bundesliga, or it wasn't working at Bayern. It needed to be more controlled. It needed to be more about getting the ball, popping it off, and it didn't suit him. He needs to play like this, helter-skelter, 100 mile an hour, winning tackles, blocking shots, you know, the whole shoot match. And he was phenomenal. It was a great win from Spurs. Really
Thomas Frank doing a fabulous job as well. I thought Bentancur was very good as well. I thought even Richarlison looked really well and stuff like that and all, you know. So
yeah, listen, he's still in his infancy there. But it's a great start for Spurs. It's a great start.
You kind of never feel with a guy like Thomas Frank, and of course we don't have enough to prove it, but you never kind of feel with Thomas Frank it's like a new manager bounce, because he's such a good coach and he coaches his team so well and structures them and sets them up so well. So when you see them being successful and winning and playing well, and even at times if they have to grind out draws against bigger teams and stuff like that and all, like you never feel like there's a newness to it, you know. You feel like this is just what we expect from a Thomas Frank side. Yeah,
absolutely. I suppose we haven't really had it before where he's come in anywhere. So, you know, I'm not necessarily saying the jury is out on him, but it'll be interesting to see how he feels his way through the whole season, especially when Champions League kicks off and stuff, and he's got that on his back as well.
Much more pressure.
A lot more pressure. Spurs in the market this evening, by the looks of it. Look to be stepping things up on the boy Xavi Simons. Chelsea obviously getting a deal over the line for Garnacho, but without a couple more outgoings, they've been unable to get the money together for Simons. So it looks like he may end up at Spurs. Now, if you've added Paulinho in there as your 6, your combative midfielder and stuff like that, bringing the energy, and then you bring a guy like Xavi in there who can really create and get on the front foot and be that kind of dictator at 10 for Spurs, that'd be another huge signing for Spurs and for Thomas Frank, you know.
Yeah, I think we seen the Here We Go tonight as well for Christopher Nkunku, didn't we, off the AC Milan?
That's right. I think the Nkunku deal happened before the Garnacho deal. So I imagine it was Nkunku left the building. The money was then available for Garnacho. So I imagine in order to get the boy Xavi Simons in the door, you're going to have to see another Here We Go, or, you know, whether it's a Nicholas Jackson or whoever it is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you would assume it would have to be Jackson, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would think so.
Because they're heavily weighted in that area.
They are. Now, don't forget, they've also just sold the boy Carney Chukwuemeka. And he has gone for about 26 million to Borussia Dortmund. So they've outlaid a good few quid on young English talent this summer with the signing of Joe Bellingham and now Carney Chukwuemeka. So they're making moves in the market as well.
Chelsea are kind of making really good relationships with teams around Europe, aren't they, in terms of transfer business and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, I think they've also sent the boy Aaron Anselmo out on loan to Dortmund. Happy enough to do the deal for Chukwuemeka, and then they took
Gittins in.
They took Gittins in, and they were also able to farm Anselmo out to get him game time as well, which will help them, you know. Newcastle and Liverpool. I did call 3-2.
You did.
So I'm happy with that, and I know you called a red card, so we're kind of 1-1 there. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, just in case Brody ever comes on here and outs me. You've never seen me celebrate a Liverpool winner like I did on Monday night. I did Liverpool 3-2 in my predictions competition.
Okay.
And it's you get 2 points if your team wins, but you get 4 points if you pick the right score.
Nice.
And I wasn't having an amazing weekend. And then for the last kick of the ball to bring me a bonus 4, I celebrated that Liverpool goal.
Do you know, it's hard to be a football fan if you don't celebrate a kid like that doing what he did. And it was a fabulous team goal as well. Did you see the stat on it?
I seen it earlier on when you shared it in the group. And obviously, I'm a big fantasy football player.
Yeah.
And the not the annoying thing, but for me, the overriding emotion was I look at the ball Mo puts into the box, right? And like it's fine. He's absolutely playing the ball to Dominic, right?
Yeah.
Dominic doesn't touch the ball and steps over it, which creates the whole opportunity for Rio. And Rio takes it without breaking stride and pops it into the corner.
But I know where you're going, but Mo gets the assist.
And Mo gets the assist, and you're going, if this is not...
And Dom's the only outfield player that never touched the ball in the whole build-up to the goal.
And I'm going, like, surely subjectively someone's going to come back here and go, well, hold on a minute, lads. We need to redress this.
Ted's the other way.
He obviously had Salah in his team. Now, it wasn't that I had Soboslai in my team. You're not far away, Keith. You're not far away. I actually mentioned this previously a couple of times last year. With obviously my own team not hitting the heights that they have been hitting. My investment in other games is just at an all-time high because I can enjoy it. Because there's no, if somebody scores against us, it's like, oh no. If we do something wrong, send it off, miss a penalty, anything like that, it's just so emotional and it saps the life out of you. Whereas when I'm watching Liverpool Newcastle and it's 3-2 and there's it's 3-2 and there's a sending off and it's end to end, I am so into that. And I'm not the kind of person who's like, I don't want Liverpool to win. I genuinely, even as a United fan, I don't give a fiddlers who wins other than my own team.
You want drama.
No, but like if United aren't playing, right, and some people would say, oh yeah, well, I don't want Liverpool to win because I don't care. It does not bother me. If it's Liverpool, Newcastle, whoever wins, I don't care, provided I get a spectacle, provided I get to watch something and it's an enjoyment out of that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think we did call it last week, didn't we? We said that like this would be the occasion versus the team that wants to play football and who would hold their head and stuff like that. And so long as we didn't get dragged into the occasion, we knew that they would lose the rag. We knew they would lose the rag.
Gotta say two things. I thought Anthony Gordon up until he got sent off was phenomenal. He was absolutely torturing.
I think Newcastle were. They
were, but I think Gordon was their threat, If you look
I thought Livramento was very good. I thought everyone had put in a
They were, but I think if you look at, say, Barnes on one side, he's a very technical sort of a player. Maybe lacks a bit of speed. You look at Alanga on the other side, absolute road runner. However, lacks a bit of technical, right? Whereas you have the boy Gordon who's playing through the middle, and he's like a hybrid. He's quick, he's sharp, technically he's phenomenal. The challenge was lunacy. It's absolute lunacy. I think if he goes a foot ahead, as if he's trying to slide to block, there's no issue. To block the outcoming ball. But to just come in and kind of go in on Virgil the way he did, it's a bad look for Newcastle. Now, I know obviously Virgil was showing him and Gordon was like, Jesus, hands up, and it was a real poor look for Gordon and for Newcastle, especially with all the hype that was going on before the game of we want to do this and we want to do that. For it to come to that on the pitch, I think it was a bad look for Newcastle.
And even above all that, so happy for Rio getting the goal and stuff like that. And what a goal,
of course,
like that. But absolutely. I tell you one thing, to knock that fucking smirk off Shearer's face is an absolute joy. It's a fucking.
He's a really unlikable character.
So unlikable.
He's a really unlikable character. Yeah. Next, I am going to head to, and I'm going to call it the New Goodison. If you didn't watch this stadium is just absolutely top of the pops. Just a super beautiful stadium. It's brought the football club, right up to where it should be, at the forefront of football and stuff like that. And then obviously on that kind of a stage, to have a guy like Jack Grealish show up, not just show up, but show up, perform, and go, this is what I can do. Don't forget about me. I've had a rough time at City, but he looked like he played with so much freedom there was no rigidity. That rigidity that he looked like he'd been kind of hemmed into in Pep's set tactics and stuff like that. You know, go down the wing, get there, stop, check in, pass it, get down there.
His interview about why he went was very telling. Actually, it was a lot of points that you touched on prior to the interview. So it's good
it was a joy to see, because again, we're all football fans. We were all a kid someday, and we all wanted to play football. And it just looked like Pep and the tactics and the strategy and stuff like that stifled them. And like, I think we all understand that Grealish is quite a good character. You know, he's a silly sort of a lad, but he's a good-hearted sort of a kid. And to see him be able to go out and enjoy himself again was, it was good. You know, it was good. Chelsea, West Ham, Chelsea were awesome. Chelsea were absolutely awesome. And the crazy thing is they were awesome without Cole Palmer. You know, obviously getting injured in the warm-up and stuff like that was a bit of a shock for them, but it didn't faze them. And actually, and I don't know if any other Chelsea fans watched this and kind of saw it the way I saw it, because Palmer is such a big personality in that team. There is an over-reliance at times. Give it to Cole, give it to Cole, give it to Cole. Whereas everything goes through him. Whereas Friday night, that wasn't the case. The case was, let's pop this about. Let's find space. Let's move the ball quickly. Let's be quick. Let's be exciting. Let's attack right. And I just thought it worked better as a unit, maybe because Cole wasn't in there. And that's not a slight on him. We know how good this lad is. But I just thought everything looked a little bit more balanced.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, very impressive. I think there's trouble at West Ham, though. I think they're in trouble. Potter, I think
there is trouble at West Ham. However, they have this week been able to make two big signings. There's the boy Masuga, I think is his name, from Monaco. He's coming in as a defensive midfielder. He's going to try and block up that hole in front of the back. The back line. You also have the boy, and I mentioned this lad previously a couple of times, the boy Mateus Fernandez. He was at Southampton. Really, really nice footballer. I think the boy Fernandez is going to play that Mohamed Kudus role. You know, because he's big, he's physically likes a card, but he can dribble with the ball, he scores goals. I think he'll play that kind of a role. So he'll go in at 10 and he'll bring some backup to, say, Fulkrug, and then you'll get Bowen back out on the right, and then you'll have somebody on the left, and it'll even things out a bit. They are also trying to sign the boy John Victor from Botafogo, the goalkeeper. I'm not happy with the goalkeeping situation at the minute. It's been Alphonse Areola, and then it was Mads Hermansen. Now, they spent big bucks on the boy Hermansen from Leicester. And, you know, last season, I watched him at Leicester. He was excellent. He was very, very good. Even in a Leicester side that went down, he, for me, was the standout. And I mentioned him on a couple of shows. West Ham spent about 25 million on this lad and are already looking like they've a bit of an issue with what's going on. And they're trying to bring the boy John Victor in. Now, I don't know if it's the right idea. I think Hermansen will do a really good job, but I think they need to shore it up in front first, if that makes sense. I think they're doing the opposite to what we're doing. I think they have a reasonable keeper. They need to put stuff right in front of it. I think we've a poor keeper. We need to put that right before whatever's in front of it can work better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that back line constantly seems to be ever changing as well. There's no stability.
It does. No, there isn't. And then obviously we'll go to Arsenal. Now, this upset me ever so slightly, and I'm going to tell you why. It upset me for two reasons. I did Arsenal 4-0 in my predictions competition. And obviously the game finished 5-0 with a 93rd minute penalty. So that upset me because I only got 2 of the 4 points I was after. And the second thing that upset me was I did a little double on the game. I had Victor Gyökeres to score any time, and I had a Leeds player to get booked, a particular Leeds player. I'm not going to mention his name, but it's going to come up later on because he's back in my bet this week. But he was the boy that injured Martin Odegaard, and he was the same lad that gave away the penalty at the end and never picked up a booking for either of them, and cost me money as well as points on my predictions. Unhappy Dazzler.
I think the only thing I mentioned on Monday that I was unhappy about it was the fact that, and I get it if you're the nominated penalty taker, but I was thinking with Max Dillon after coming on and doing so well and winning the penalty, you're 4-0 up. It's not going to make a difference to your season if you're Victor Yerkes. Give the fucking ball to Max Dillon and let him put the pen on the back of the net. Makes no difference.
Not for me.
Well, for me, that's how I would have done it.
That's
what I would. If I was captain, that's what I would have
I think the problem is then you're bringing emotion into it.
No, but I mean, at 4-0, there's no need for emotion. The game is done. It doesn't matter whether you beat Leeds 4-0 or 5-0. But if you can give an opportunity to a boy like that, that's
But also, if you're a Victor Gyökeres and you can go off the back of a double and start to build confidence, the boy Dowman may not play this week. It will depend on how the game looks. He doesn't need it as much as maybe a Gyökeres does to kind of build towards becoming that figurehead at Arsenal, especially now with possibly Odegaard and Saka missing a couple of games. Yeah, I think you're right, Ted. I wouldn't have handled it in either.
I think it take a lot more than that, Ted, to ruin this boy's confidence. This boy looks a proper star. That would be the least for anyway. Okay, so that's our look back. Let's get into this weekend's then. The interesting ones are right. Where do we want to begin?
We want to begin at Chelsea, right?
Chelsea Fulham, yeah.
Absolutely. We go from the top. Chelsea Fulham, I have it down as a home win. I have Chelsea 3, Fulham 1. I think there's goals in the Chelsea team. I think Fulham aren't. Fulham are tidy. They're combative. They'll make you play. But I think there's a lot of quality there at Chelsea at home. And I'm backing Chelsea to get over the line 3-1.
Yeah, great. Sunderland-Brentford.
Sunderland-Brentford. I think Brentford have had a big week so far. A great win last weekend against Aston Villa 1-0. And then to go out and win in the Carabao during the week was another big result for Keith Andrews. It's 2 clean sheets on the bounce, and it's 2 positive results, which I don't think most people would have predicted after the opening game of the season at Palace, at Forest. So I think I've actually gone for a draw here. I've gone 2-2. I think back at the Stadium of Light, Sunderland it'll be a different kettle of fish. I think their home form will dictate whether they stay in the league or not. I think they'll pick up, a fairly menial amount of points away from home. But I think it's at home at that Stadium of Light that they're going to try and make things a bit raucous. I'm going to try and make it very intimidating for teams. I've got it down as a 2-2 draw here, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Sunderland nick it.
It's a kind of another difficult weekend, isn't it, for clubs in around that kind of middle section of the Premier League where moves could still happen coming in and going out in people's minds. There's obviously Monday. What you make as well, the deadline day, it's closing on 7:00 on Monday evening. Just weird, isn't it? It's unusual. So we will be on, myself and Mark, by the way. We will be doing a rundown of all the transfers and asking those hard questions as well. 2-1 from Joanne. And Warren, hi Joe, how are you? There we go. Tottenham versus Bournemouth.
Sorry, I had a strawberry stuck there. Yeah, listen, I don't think you can back against Spurs at the minute with the way things are going. 2 wins on the bounce, 2 clean sheets, starting to really pick up a bit of traction there under Thomas Frank.
Yeah,
we know Bournemouth won't make it easy for them. However, I do think at the new lane, so to speak, I think Tottenham will come out on top. I've got Spurs 3-1 here. I think this might be the first time the defence gets breached this season in the league. I think Bournemouth still have a lot of quality. They're probably looking for a little bit to come in that door before the window closes. They've obviously had a mass exodus so far with the goalkeeper and the back line and stuff. They brought in a little bit. They haven't brought in as much as I thought they would have. So I think they need to maybe do 1 or 2 more. They've obviously got the boy Hamad Traore is leaving the building as well. He's heading back to France. So they definitely need a couple of incomings, Bournemouth. And I'm going to say Spurs 3-1 here.
Wolves Everton.
Wolves Everton. Wolves getting a good victory in the Carabao against West Ham. Again, I think Wolves are going to be very, very similar to Sunderland, where their fate will be determined by their home form. Couple of nice players at Wolves, I have to say. The boy Strand Larson obviously got 2 goals the other night in the Carabao, heavily linked with Newcastle. Looks now, after tonight's news with the boy Nick Voldemort, that he will stay at Wolves, and it might be Visa that joins Newcastle instead.
Apparently Wolves are pushing for him. Big money, especially after his performance the other night.
Yeah, well, listen, he comes off the bench and scores 2 the other night, and all of a sudden then there's another 10 million on his price tag, right? So I think it's good for Wolves if he stays. I think they have a couple of good players there. The boy Marshall Menezzi, keep that name on the tip of your tongue. This kid is a really, really good footballer. Kind of plays in and around the midfield, but likes to join into the attacks and stuff like that. He's not an out-and-out 10, but he is an attacking midfielder. But he's a big physical kid. And he's coming up with a couple of goals and stuff like that. Looks really, really good. And it looks like it's good recruitment from Wolves, because I don't think they paid too much from last year when they signed them. I've actually just gone for the draw here. I've gone 1-1. Similarly to Joanne. I think 1-1. Don't think there'll be too many goals in it. I think it's 2 defences that will come out on top. And 2 goalkeepers and stuff like that, you know.
This could be another game where Grealish just makes the difference. That bit of quality.
You've got Grealish. Excuse me. You've got the boy Illiman and Doy, who obviously we didn't mention earlier on, but last goal at Goodison, first goal at the New Hill Dickinson Stadium. So phenomenal from him. Dewsbury Hall has kind of hit the ground running a little bit. And Everton spent big bucks during the week on one Tyler Dibbling. Now, he's a kid we watched last season for Southampton. A kid I looked at and said, I would love to have this kid at United.
He was your one to watch in this window, wasn't he?
He was one of them, all right. 42.5 million Everton have spent on this kid. I got to say, I think it's a bargain. I know people are going to go 43 million, and you think it's a bargain. I think this is a bargain. I think so. I think if he gets into the team, and you've got him and a Grealish and an Ndoye driving at teams, you'll see some big stuff from Everton this year. And David Moyes obviously knows how to do it. Done it before at Everton. They're tight as a duck's arse at the back. And if they can add goals, they'll do really well this season, Everton.
43 million more expensive than Garnacho. Again, it's that, you know, there's a lot of factors to look at that and stuff, you know.
Well, the first thing is you have the English tax.
Yeah.
The second thing is he's 4 years younger than Garnacho.
And you have the atmosphere.
And the third thing is he's not somebody who's caused any issues anywhere that he could be viewed as a bad boy. Now, saying that, and I'll be honest, I think, and I was a Garnacho fan, by the way, I think he's going to do a phenomenal job at Chelsea. I genuinely do. I think this kid Dibbling will blow whatever Garnacho does out of the water. I really do. I think if you watched them enough last season at Southampton and they were terrible, this kid was a shining light. He was like Roy of the Rovers at times. And you're just going, is this kid like 17 or 18? What's going on here? So to see him do that, and now to see him in a team that's a much better, well-drilled team, I think Moyes will drip feed him into it. I don't think he'll pro him in straight away. I think you'll just see bits of him here and there, and you'll let him find his feet. And I think they'll absolutely have a ball on their hands here.
Warren, do you want to finish Darren off fully? Stephen Kenny, good Lord. Joanne's going for a Man United 1-0. That sounds a bit more respectful. Man United, Burnley. What are you thinking on this? I mean, obviously, you know, a lot of the narrative at the moment. Forget about last night. Last night was just fucking insane. Like, it's just one of those fucking things that can happen. But I mean, obviously with Fulham, you made the point when we look back at it there, and obviously with the Arsenal game, you made the point that, you know, like, you know, if things happen a different way, you could be sitting on 4 points or whatever it is. What are you thinking on this one? This is obviously a big game. Does the, like, as this progresses, the narrative will grow as games come along and stuff like that.
Of course it will.
The natural light that shines on Man United, the microscope that be on you constantly.
Hated, adored, but never ignored.
Mm.
I've got this down. I've got this down as 2-0 for United. I think Amaral will want to see some sort of a clean sheet where it's just close it up at the back and everything will be about control and trying to just
Who are you expecting to see in nets? Is this Tom Heaton? Did these two boys get binned off and Tom Heaton goes in nets?
Well, I don't think necessarily last night that Bayindir was dropped. I think it was a cup game. And with Bayindir having played the first 2 league games, and certainly in the second game, he did a lot better. I think I expect to see Bayindir again.
Was he sending a message to Onana last night to say you're now number 2?
Well, you're now at the minute you're the cup keeper, right? And that's number 2 at the club. Yeah, 100%.
Was it a subliminal message to say get the fuck out of here? You need to find a new home kind of thing? Or?
Well, I think that message is going to get much clearer when we do sign another keeper. Obviously, a lot of talk about the boy Senny Lamans at the minute, but we'll see what happens.
If he comes in, you expect him to come in as number 1?
Well, I expect him to come in and challenge Bayindir for number 1. I think Onana is done. I think he's dusted.
Okay, so he gets frozen out. Yeah, he gets.
I think I actually think what will happen is when we bring the boy Lamans in and Onana, you'll then have what you'll have is a really experienced guy in a Tom Heaton as your number 3. You'll have Lamans and Bayindir vying for number 1 position, that expecting Bayindir to end up at number 2. And I think at that stage, Onana's going to look and say, I need to get out of here. There's an AFCON in January or February. I'm going to send out whatever I can send out and cast the net wide and see if I can get somebody to pick me up. If it's Saudi, wherever it is, somewhere I can go. Get away from the limelight.
Try and have a good AFCON and put yourself in the
Try and have a good AFCON, Now, listen, I don't believe anybody's looking at the AFCON going, which of these keepers will I pick either, by the way. So,
but some of the matches are a bit madness, as we know, because we cover the AFCON.
Absolutely.
Goalkeepers tend to be in the middle of that madness sometimes.
100%. But I think if you're looking for a goalkeeper, the AFCON's the last place you're going to be looking, if I'm honest. I think Saudi would be ideal. I don't imagine anyone's coughing up anything near 40 million for him. I think if you were to get 20 to 25, which is getting them off the books, getting the wages off the books, getting them out of the stadium, getting them out of the dressing room, and getting the boy Lamans in, lowering your wage bill, having a guy that can grow into the jersey over the next year or 2.
Get rid of another headache.
I think it's another headache on, and I think it puts you in a better position again,
And he's just so weird, isn't he? Because even when you interview him after games and stuff like that and all, he's convinced he's a world-class elite goalkeeper and that these things are not his issue and all. He doesn't take a whole lot of responsibility around it. It's weird,
Shells has just finished there 2-0 on the night, 5-1 on aggregate.
Nice.
So super for Shells. They are going into the Conference League, which is super for Shells, obviously. Super.
The draw for them, I presume, is tomorrow, is it? Tomorrow for the draw for those.
It might be 79 minutes gone in Tala. It's still 0-0. Santa Clara have 5 players receiving yellow cards so far. So this could be, you never know, with them pushing towards the end, they might actually shoot themselves in the foot here, pick up another yellow and be down to 10, and Rovers would have it in hand,
Joanne, I would love that so much. I'm going to be following Newcastle results very closely this season. I can tell you that much. That's going to be one to watch. I can tell you that.
I'm also going to the United game on Saturday.
Oh, very good. Excellent. Does that mean I should be lumping on Burnley or? Just saying. Who's had no
voice? It's myself and Brody going to the game, and the 3 girls, Rosanna, Marion, and Tallulah, are coming. But we're going to drop them at the outlets, and we're going to pop up to Old Trafford for the game, and then we'll come back and pick them up, and we'll stay Saturday night and come home on Sunday and stuff,
Mm. Yeah, I think it's very hard not to talk about it, Keith, isn't it? These guys, it looks like there's a certain wave of special talent coming through at the moment, and it's very, very exciting because it's kind of like there's a lot of really good footballers out there. We've seen Niall and stuff like that and all, but it's kind of like the Ronaldo and Messi have kind of left a little bit of a void there, haven't they? Kind of. But we're seeing some players coming in now to try and fill that and stuff, so it's pretty cool. Liverpool preparing a bid 130, 140. It'll be 130. And Newcastle will wipe it up. Jesus, poor Brody. What did he do to be punished like that?
I'll send you a photo of him last night, Ted. He was ready to pull his hair out. God bless him.
Yeah, I seen it all right. Leeds, Newcastle. Oh, sorry, Man United, Burnley. What did you say? I said 2-0.
2-0.
Yeah, Leeds, Newcastle. 4-0 Leeds.
Leeds, Newcastle, I have down as 2-1 to Newcastle.
Right.
I think they'll just have a little bit more quality. I think Leeds' biggest issue this season is going to be scoring goals. I don't think they'll score enough goals. They obviously brought in Marquis pal Noah Okafor from AC Milan, and the boy Lucas Nemchek got the goal last week, the penalty spot, whatever. But I don't think Leeds are going to score enough goals. And I think in a team like Newcastle, when you've got an Anthony Elanga and you've got a Harvey Barnes and you've got a Bruno Guimaraes and you've got an Aaron Ramsey, you got all these guys. I think there's enough quality in Newcastle to pick up a win here. I think he's a big loss. He is an absolute big loss, Acers. I don't agree with what you say, but Anthony Gordon's a huge loss. However, I do think at that stage, the boy William Masula came off the bench the other night and got a goal. They may start with him at the weekend to give them that kind of number 9 figurehead.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin went to Leeds as well, didn't he?
He did. He played during the week in the Carabao for them.
How did you see any of it? How did he play, or did you? I know they went down to Sheffield Wednesday, obviously, but it'd be interesting.
Yeah, I didn't see any of it, to be honest with you now.
Right, let's move into Sunday then. Brighton versus Man City. Another team in the past that has been able to do some sort of a number on City at times.
Well, we saw it last season, didn't we? When Brighton went, or when City went there, and we're 2-0 up at half time, and Fabian Herzler
missed the penalty against Sheffield Wednesday.
Right. Fabian Herzler brought Carlos Baliba off the bench at half time last year, and City were 2-0 up at that stage, and Baliba changed the game and absolutely dominated in that second half for Brighton, and Brighton pulled it out and got a 3-2 victory. I don't think that's going to happen this year. I've got City down here 3-1. I think Joanne just said the same thing. I have City 3-1.
Yeah.
And we'll touch on it later on, but I have a little goal scorer there as well in the bets for later on from Manchester City.
Cool. Forest West Ham. This is Forest all day, is it?
Should be. Now, the only issue with Forest is, and Forest have made some phenomenal signings, some real phenomenal signings. Obviously, Douglas Luiz, the boy Dan and Doy has 2 good games. He got a goal and assist so far. You see the boy Calimundo come in. There's a lot of stuff at Forest. Forest are doing really, really well in the market and look to be bringing in another centre-back. From what I saw, I'm trying to think who it was. I seen the name and I went, wow, that's huge for Forest. But I still think things are a bit uneasy at Forest. Now, I think this is a good game for them. It's at home and it's against a West Ham side that are devoid of any sort of confidence. So I've gone Forest 3-1. However, don't be surprised if it's a little bit closer than that. Just because the atmosphere in around, the City ground at the minute with Nuno and what's going on with the Greek and stuff like that,
We'll skip over the Super Sunday because I want to get your thoughts on that. Aston Villa, Crystal Palace.
I think this is where Villa have to kind of get back to winning ways. First day of the season, a 0-0 draw against Newcastle, obviously, and then last weekend to go away against Brentford. I think they would have in their head been nailed on to beat Brentford, and they lost. So I think going back to Villa Park, this is a huge game for them. I think Palace will just be getting used to the fact that they're without Eberechi Eze now. And that'll play a big part going away from home because they won't have that potency up front the way they had with Sarr and with Mateta and stuff like that. They've looked to rectify it. They're bringing in the boy Jeremy Pino from Villarreal, Spanish international. They spent about 26 million on him. Really good footballer. Is he an exact identical replacement for Eberechi Eze? Not in my eyes. He's a very nice technical midfielder. He's got good touches. He doesn't, however, have the kind of finishing prowess that Eze has, and he isn't able to kind of shoulder a whole team maybe the way Eze has as well. So I think this will take this lad a while to grow into it. I'm actually agreeing with Ted. I have 2-1 here, Villa, on my predictions, and that's where I'm gonna stay.
Cool. So then the Super Sunday, top of the table clash. Who's going to be leading the table going into the international break? Liverpool at home at Anfield versus Arsenal. Arsenal missing Martin Odegaard and Bukayo Saka.
So I'm going to make this real easy because I know, as you said there, who's going to be leading the table when we go into the window, into the international window. And my answer is Spurs. I have this down for a draw. I have it down as 2-2. I think Arsenal are going to cause you an awful lot of trouble from set pieces. However, I think it's going to be difficult to break Arsenal down as easy as you have Newcastle and Bournemouth, because I think obviously Arsenal at the back are a much better unit. David Ray has been so good. Gabriel and Saliba, Calafiori and Timber all playing really well at the minute. Zubimendi sitting. He's done a pretty good job so far. 2 clean sheets for Arsenal, 2 wins. Liverpool obviously all goals. Something has to give. I think 2-2. I think both teams stay unbeaten. Spurs go top on towards the international break. And then it's just another one chalked off for everybody, you know?
Yeah. Interesting. Well, we are doing a preview tomorrow night. Myself and Kenny be on at 9 o'clock to do a preview for this game. So we'll be talking options and all. Who do you expect to line out for Arsenal? What you're thinking? Who's going to fill in for Saka and for Odegaard?
So I think obviously Zubimendi plays at 6. Rice plays at the 8. I think Eze plays as the 10 behind Gyökeres and takes Odegaard's spot. I think Madueke will go right, and I think Martinelli will go left.
Interesting. We'll double up on Salah with Gabriel. Possibly. It's not bad advice. So we
it's
should
also
see.
not against the rules, by the way, just so we're,
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Right, quick rundown on the Carabao Cup. Anything stick out for you? Third round? Did you look at it even? Or what's in there? Brentford, Aston Villa.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't look at it once.
Yeah.
I just saw earlier on, actually, and our friend Morris might enjoy this. Swansea City there against Nottingham Forest, yeah.
Yeah.
Swansea are in talks with Celtic for one Adam Ida. Now, I don't know if that's a loan deal or if it's a permanent deal, but Swansea in for Adam Ida.
Huge disappointment for Celtic the other night as well, crashing out.
Huge.
Absolutely
really huge. Yeah, 100%. Really poor. What are we looking at as the standout toy? Like, I don't think any of the toys are amazing. You know,
Brentford, Aston Villa, Liverpool, Southampton.
It's fine. Like, I probably think
Wolves, Everton.
Oh yeah, like it's not great, is
Palace,
it?
Millwall. Palace, Millwall will be a feisty.
Also not great. It'll be feisty, but also not great. Yeah. Listen, I won't be tuning in. So, you know, I'm being bitter about this, Niall, if that's okay.
That's okay.
Last one. It's only about think there's only about 10 in it, to be honest with you. Now they're fine. They're not massive. They're 10 jellies.
You're convincing yourself there was 10 in it.
No, 10's a good number.
There was a lot more than that in that. There was a lot more than 5 and 5 when I looked at it. Did you tune into the Champions League draw at all?
I did.
You did. This was kind of cool, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. Zlatan's just money, isn't he? He's just
absolutely. He's gold.
How good was that Finn? Yeah. He's
gold.
Nick.
He is.
Some Nick, isn't he?
You wouldn't mess with him, put it that way.
No. Absolutely. It's all on the board. It is, Warren. It's a rough one, and it's, I wouldn't be surprised if Rodgers gets out of there, because that's it's not good, unfortunately.
Well, there's been a huge amount of sales there at Celtic, and there's been very little reinvestment of the funds to bring in replacements for what's left.
Big up still. The funny thing is, United persist with Theo Brainless, Gaffer, Slayers, Maguire and Shaw. I don't know.
I don't think you'd lay any blame at Harry Maguire or Luke Shaw.
I wouldn't have thought. I mean,
Shaw didn't play a minute last night, and Maguire came off the bench, shore things up a bit, and got an equaliser, The
problem with Maguire as well, when he's bringing him on, he's fucking him up front. Like, it just, that's the other side of it as well. I reckon those pair would have won titles in the kick and chase 90s. Yeah, absolutely. Potentially, yeah. But I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just like everyone kind of, when they think Maguire is down and out, he puts in a performance and then he goes on.
Absolutely. Look at how many times he's been the guy to stand up for United and do something that the guys ahead of him haven't been able to do.
Yeah, it's shocking, Warren. That is shocking. 100 million in the bank and 1.5 million spent. But
I think I'm right in saying, Warren, they've had 2 bids accepted this week. Now, this is the absolute batshit crazy thing.
Yeah, spot on that.
For me. They've just had 2 bids accepted for 2 wingers, I think. 5 million for one and 5 million for the other. But they do that after the Champions League games. And you're going, spend the 10, 15 million before the 2 games.
Should be
get
down in
1 or 2 lads in, help you get out. Like, you've drawn 0-0 over 2 legs with Pat the Baker, Postman Pat, and whoever else, right? And if you could have just nicked it, you'd have got yourself in the Champions League. You're
rolling the dice. You're rolling the dice on 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 million quid.
Like, it's so bad. Crazy. And then obviously they're looking to ship out Adam Ida, which is more money out the door. And I see the boy, is it Coe? Looks like he's on his way to Birmingham as well. And you're like, how many crown jewels can you sell without replacing? You put that on the fact that the fans now have also checked out on like Days on My Day. So like, he needs to go. He's in an Andre Onana situation as well, where I don't think.
One guy signed there.
Yeah. There was 2 bids accepted, 2 lads, 5 million a pop. But like, the boy Maida, he needs to now go as well. He's in an Andre Onana position where Celtic fans don't want to see this lad lying out in the jersey again because of how many chances he's fluffed the lines on, and how much of a better position you guys could be in if he had have done what.
The drop off in the money is massive.
Huge.
Massive. Huge. And especially when you know that the money in the Scottish League isn't huge at all. Like, you know what I mean? So like you're struggling against that, and then you're rolling the dice on the Champions League money. Like, Celtic should be in the Champions League every year, It's ridiculous that they let themselves do this.
Well, when you see, Kiriti or whatever they're called, and then you see Paphos FC and you see Karabakh, right? When you see those teams like that, and a team like, and by the way, not a fan. Everybody knows I'm not a fan. But when you see a club the size of Glasgow Celtic not in the Champions League, that says an awful lot. And I got to be honest, I don't feel like too much of the blame lies at Brendan Rodgers' door. I think for me, a lot of it is laid at the board and how they've kind of, I think they've kind of pilfered from the squad and not put back in what they've taken out, and that makes it tough. 0-0 in Tala, it is over. Shamrock Rovers win 2-1 on aggregate and join Shelbourne in the Conference League. I wonder who we'll see come to Tala and Tolka Park this year in the Conference League.
That's cool. That's great.
Very cool.
Great for the league as well.
Well, I mean, last year it was obviously
Rovers.
It was Rovers. This year you got one better, and you've got Rovers and Shells, 2 teams. So it's super. Really, really is.
Yeah, absolutely. Besiktas just sacked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Apparently. Coordinators.
Wow.
There we go. What did you make of the draw today? Specifically looking at the 6 teams.
Well, it's extremely difficult to keep up with, right? Like, it's hieroglyphics.
The draw's mad, isn't it?
Oh, it's batshit crazy. It really is.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever get used to the fact that you don't play the same teams. That every week it just changes. Yeah. It's like, wow. However, what I will say
we did say we did like the format last year, and it's a great challenge for coaches.
This is what I was going to say. I do believe it's a really good format, and I enjoyed the format last year. I just think it's very difficult to get to grips with when they're making the permutations and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, spot on, Warren. None of it lies with Brendan.
Yeah, I agree, Warren.
For Celtic. As a matter of fact, they've done them dirty this time, to be honest.
Yeah. So I think if we look at City, I don't think it's a terrible draw at all. I think, you've obviously got Real there, and Napoli being a league title winner and stuff like that with Antonio Conte. But I mean, the rest of those teams didn't really set the place alight at all, the other 6. So for City, I imagine they'll comfortably get into the next round. I think obviously with Arsenal, there's a few more hiccups along the way. Bayern and Inter, Atletico Madrid and Athletic Bilbao and stuff like that. So it's a little bit tougher. I think Liverpool have got a similar enough one to Arsenal, where obviously they've got Atletico and Inter as well as Real, and then they've got Marseille, Galatasaray. So again,
you go going back to Frankfurt.
Yeah, not easy at all. Spurs, I think, will be happy. If I'm Spurs and I see those 8, I go, do you know what? We'll take that. That's a win. Absolutely. I think that's a win. I think if you throw away, probably the PSG game, they should be in a position to win 5 out of the other 7.
Yeah.
And that gets you to the next stage. Newcastle, I feel like Newcastle, relatively tough. Barca, PSG, Benfica, Leverkusen, Bilbao, Marseille, PSV, like that's not overly easy.
Their biggest problem is they've struggled in the window. They haven't been able to bring targets in. They've stalled on the Isaac situation, and that will come home to roost because they're not in a position squad wise to be doing the Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday.
Absolutely, 100%. And then Chelsea, obviously, tough games again for Chelsea. Yeah. Bayern, Barca, Benfica, Atalanta, Napoli. They're tough games. The other 3, I think they should win, but they're tough games. They'll need to pick up points at home in those big games, and beat the 3 smaller teams in order to progress, shall we say.
Would you have Chelsea in there as dark horses on the basis of coming in as the World Club Cup champions on that kind of wave?
I wouldn't. I think it's kind of long forgotten about now for me. I think it's a tough competition to win. I think it's all about just getting through those 8 league games first, picking up the points as you go along, and then putting yourself in a position to get a home tie in that round of 16 and just try and go from there. Really tough competition. I personally wouldn't be shocked to see all 6 English teams get through.
That'd be great.
I think if anyone's going to miss out, it's Newcastle. But I do think there's a possibility all 6 go through.
Interesting. Yeah, I seen that all right. I seen Betis signed a player today. Did you see it? It's obviously not. I didn't look into it now. I presume it wasn't the one that they're signing in the Anthony role or something like that. But I did see that it's
no, it's not.
Okay. I didn't look into it anyway deep. I just glazed over it, to be honest.
No, listen, initially they tried to do a loan deal and now they're all guns blazing to try and get this done as a straight cash deal. So that's what United are hoping for. I think United obviously view it at a certain level.
What do you expect them to go for? What is it? What's the figure they're looking at the moment?
Think they're talking about 30 million.
With what he did last season there for them, that's a steal.
For Betis, absolutely. It's a huge loss for us, but also in one sense, it gets another guy with big wages off the books. It gets another guy. Now, he hasn't been a problem in his defence. The kid went out on loan. He did his job. He's come back. He's shown the right kind of attitude. He's been respectful all the way along the way. I certainly won't have a bad word to say about the kid at all, I have to say. Sometimes things just don't work. And I think that's just one of those cases. It didn't work for whatever reason.
Well, I think he had a rough year off the pitch as well, didn't he?
He did. But I mean, he certainly showed a lot of character when he went to Betis last year.
What age is Anthony?
He's about 24, 25. So he's still relatively young. That there's still a ceiling there,
Would you throw an L 10% sell on him as well?
Possibly. Or maybe they go for the 30 plus 5 add-ons as opposed to the sell-on. But we are getting more partial to this sell-on deal, so we shall see.
Yeah, I think that's spot on, Ted. I think he was shouldering a lot of shit off the pitch at one stage.
Yeah, 100%.
And kind of, do you know something? He was taken out of the loop as well a bit to try and deal with it. And like when you don't have football, if you're a professional footballer, a football isn't in your life, it's a massive void. So you're sitting at home thinking about the other fucking shit that's going on and stuff, So
absolutely, yeah. I've obviously, like everybody else, had difficulties in their life and made mistakes and done things right and done things wrong and stuff. And when I was going through stuff in my own life, the one thing that I had at that stage was football. And to the point where I needed to focus on that so badly, I used to go down and train when the Saturday team played on my own because I'd know there'd be. So I trained Tuesday and Thursday. If the Saturday lads were home, I'd go down and train on the pitch next to them, so you're watching it, but you're doing a bit as well. And then I'd play on a Sunday. But I needed that as an outlet for my head and stuff like that. And I was really able to throw myself into it. Yeah. And like lads would be saying to you, Jesus, you're playing great and bloody blah. And I'm like, this is the only place in the world right now I want to be is on this pitch, because it means I can escape everything else that's kind of happening in my life and stuff like that. So I wanted to play. I wanted to be on the pitch. And that was kind of my, to coin a phrase, my happy place.
Yeah, nearly
when
your safe
zone.
It
absolutely was. When I stepped across that line, I knew nothing else in the world could go wrong. And it was all about what I did on that pitch. And it gave me a great amount of freedom,
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Listen, we know you aren't in Europe this year, and I'm going to be doing the same with Marky as well. And Ted, you can chime in here as well if you like, or any of the other United fans in the thing. Give us a team for the Champions League this year that you're going to follow. You got to pick one for me.
That I'm going to follow?
Yeah, you need to give me one because we need to have, obviously we come on the Thursday, so we review the Champions League.
Follows a strong word, isn't it?
Well, someone who you can pin your flag to this season because obviously your own team isn't in Europe. So you need to get, now it doesn't have to be a Premier League team.
Right, okay, hang on.
Be any team you want, you know what I mean? But I just fancy you giving me one. I'd like the lads to give me one as well. Mark can give me one as well. Ted, whoever else is in there, United wise. It's just so we can have a narrative on a Thursday night, we can chat about it and stuff like that and all. And because otherwise it'll be a very boring Champions League review on a Thursday night.
Sure will. I'll tell you who. There's a couple I just can't go for because...
Actually, before you pick a team, who do you think's going to win it? Who's your pick to win?
I'm going to go mad and I'm going to say PSG retain.
Okay. Mark's going with Napoli.
Yeah. Is he going for Napoli as the team he wants to follow?
I presume so.
Yeah,
it's the McTominay effect.
It's the McTominay, De Bruyne, probably Højlund. I can see that, to be honest with you. But
that's not a problem if you want Napoli as well. It's no issue. Yeah, to follow. Yeah, so the boys are going with Napoli. That's cool. Both teams go.
Yeah, I'll go Napoli too.
All three is thrown in.
I'll go Napoli as well. I'll tell you, I was looking at a couple of other teams. Yeah, I was, I'll tell you what, just to be different, right? Let the boys have Napoli, and I'll tell you who I want to go for, yeah?
I know you're definitely not picking your team from last season anyway, because they look like they're going to struggle a bit as well.
Inter?
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you who I'll go for, and this is my team to follow, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to 1999, and I'm going to go for Bayern Munich.
Cool.
I like Bayern. I don't know why, of a little soft spot for Bayern.
What is it about it?
Bayern?
Do you feel as a United fan maybe owed them?
No, not at all. Listen, that's football. I just think they're a real good club. They're a real well-run club. I just like the way they have a bit of a swagger about them as well. And, they're kind of like, we're Bavarian, we're the champs. We're, kind of like that. I think if I was German, I'd be a Bayern fan. So I'll go Bayern.
It's that BMW Mercedes effect, isn't it?
It's the Mercedes effect. I got no love for BMW whatsoever, I can tell you.
There you go. And probably less for Audi.
And I used to have two Audis. So I've had two Audis and a Merc. So I am a fan of them, but I've never done the BMW thing, and I never will.
Yeah. Can't think of what team in the conference though. You don't have to. We won't be going that in depth. We'll glaze over them. Yeah. So Ted's going Ajax, you're going Bayern, and Mark is going Napoli. Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. That should be a bit of crack. I just thought it'd be a bit of fun coming up this season because
I do like the Napoli shout, I have to say, but I'll go Bayern.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Give us your best.
I do like Vincent Kompany as well.
Yeah.
He was my boy when I was singing about how good he was going to be, and everyone was like, they're getting sacked at Burnley, like blah-de-blah. And I was like, listen, I think he'll do it. And obviously he came in last season and won the title and picked up a DFB poker or whatever. And you're like, this guy I think he's destined to be the next Manchester City boss, if I'm honest.
Warren's going for Bruges, Club Bruges.
Club Brugge, yeah.
Question. Barcelona got a very easy draw. Yeah. Question for you as well, and it's just one to put out there as well. If this lad starts tearing the head and the face off himself at Man City and decides he wants to exit the building if things aren't going well, who goes in there?
Kompany.
Kompany goes in.
100%.
Cool.
100%. I think it's just set up for it. I don't think there's...
The driver would be too much for him to stay at Bayern, would it?
I think so.
Back into the Prem.
History. Man City, statue
Money.
Outside the whole shooting match. Yeah, everything. I think it's set up for it, isn't it, really?
Amron can go in there and we'll take Pep. Is Dazzler going to follow any Scottish teams in Europe? Wait a minute. I don't know. I don't think Rangers are doing too well either. Are they in trouble as well?
Well, they got beaten 6-0.
Yeah.
But Celtic get a Europa League one, right? They get a Europa League spot.
Yeah.
because they lost in the Champions League. Whereas I think, do Rangers get a conference because they got beaten in the Europa?
I'm
Is
not
that
too
right?
sure.
I'll tell you now whether they lost in Europa or where they lost. Hang on, let me tell you now.
If they got beaten 6-0, I know.
They got absolutely murdered.
Yeah.
It was the Champions League Rangers got beaten in as well.
Ted saying Rangers get nothing.
Now, surely Rangers get Europa, no?
They'd have to get something. You don't crash straight out of the
They have to get. Oh, excuse you. They have to get Europa.
They're in the Europa.
Oh, yeah, I said that. Yeah. You're talking about Ted.
That's wishful thinking from Ted. That probably wishful thinking.
It might be. You know where, Ted?
Absolutely. Right, throw us out your bets there.
Right, we'll do this usual where we go from low to high, yeah?
Yeah, and anyone in the chat as well. Ted, if you have any bets there, you want to challenge Darren on what your picks were around like that, throw them in there as well. Or Marky, if you have any for the weekend.
So I've done 3 goal scorers, not assist or goal scorers, just 3 straight goal scorers.
Okay.
Man in form, João Pedro. Chelsea at home to Fulham. A man who had a great first week, didn't really show up in week 2, Tierney Reinders for Man City. I think City might pick up a couple of goals the weekend, and I think Reinders gets back on it. And then a guy who obviously missed his penalty to win the game last night. And that was Matheus Cunha. But this guy strikes me as a little bit of a character. And I imagine that he'll come back from missing the penalty and maybe put one away against Burnley. So I'm going João Pedro, Tierney Reinders, Matheus Cunha, a treble, anytime goal scorers, 20-1.
Are you expecting Reinders to be a regular goal scorer at City?
I am, yeah.
Are you really? Good.
With the amount of goals that City score, absolutely, yeah. Because we know the likelihood is they're going to pump someone every second or third week, right? Even when they have their off weeks, they will pump someone.
I think Acers, that's going to be the case. That's going to be the case. Most weeks, actually, he'll even be shorter. So I think he'll
be absolutely shorter most weeks.
Yeah. So I'm not surprised. Nice.
Then number 2 is my yellow card bet. Number 2, Ted, I'll come back to you, pal. Number 2 is my yellow card bet. It's a treble again. So I've gone Sasa Lukic for Fulham at the Bridge. Very combative. He's all over the pitch for Fulham. He's all action. He tackles. He's arms, shoulders, legs, the whole shooting match. And I think it could be a tough night at the office for someone. And I think Sasha could end up with a yellow card.
Yeah.
I've gone for Malik Diouf in the West Ham Forest game. He'll play on the left-hand side for West Ham. I think he will anyway. He's played the first 3 games. And he'll go up against either Dan and Doy or Hudson Odoi, and they may swap over like that. And I think the boys will give him a tough day at the office. Because again, I see West Ham probably having a tough day. So I'm going for the boy Diouf. And then the guy who didn't hold up his end of the bargain last week in my double in the Arsenal game is a guy called Anton Stash. And he was the guy who injured Martin Odegaard. And he was the guy that gave away the penalty on Max Dowman. Somehow he didn't get yellow carded. However, in a very physical and combative game versus Newcastle, I imagine this lad will pick up a yellow card. So the 3, Sasa Lukic, Anton Stash, and Malik Diouf, 3 yellows, 35-1. Yeah. And then I'll round out before we come to you, Ted, just so we can let you run through them, yeah? And I'm gonna round out with Chelsea result on both to score.
Yeah.
I've got City result and both to score.
Yeah.
And I have gone for Newcastle result and both to score. And that has come in at 46-1.
That's a nice bet. Yeah, that's well put together.
And that is my 3 for this evening.
Very good. So Ted has gone for Everton, Newcastle, Brentford, and Spurs 24-1.
So because there's 4 of them, this is obviously to score or assist, Ted, if I'm right.
No, I think that's his, is that not his straight up? That's an accumulator. Are you looking for the Addy? This is the
here's the anytime. Here's the anytime.
Yeah,
This
I think
is
that's an acca that he's done there.
Sorry, my apologies. That's not a bad bet, Ted, by the way. It's only 4, isn't it?
That's good.
31 anytime goal scorer. Sunderland, Brentford. Sunderland, Brentford. I think he's gone for. The boy Meander, the lad that plays up front for Sunderland. Spurs.
It's goal or assist.
It's goal or assist. Yeah. I think I'll go Meander as well. Anyway, it's the same lad, plays up front for Sunderland. Real good footballer. In the Spurs Bournemouth game, I'm gonna go Brennan Johnson. Then Leeds and Newcastle, I am going to go Anthony Elanga. And in the Everton Wolves game, I am gonna go Illiman and Doy. Tell me, Ted, what have we got? What have we got, Tedward?
How's he doing, Ted? Mark's bet. My bet is Blackpool to only draw with Bolton and Bruce to get the sack after Poxy start to the season. That's fair enough. You got 2 out of 4.
I got 2 out of 4. Tell us which 2 we got, Ted, will you?
Tell us the 2 we got, Ted, so we can focus.
And then we can, I believe Brennan Johnson is 100%. Yeah, no, I think Brennan Johnson.
Elanga sounds a shout as well.
I think it's going to be Johnson and Ndoye are the 2 I got.
Johnson and Elanga, correct.
Johnson and Elanga. Okay, so then the other game. So then we'll go Grealish in the Everton game. And then in the Sunderland game, we'll go.
Are they playing this? Is he in the squad or have they taken him out because of the potential move?
Oh, they've taken him out.
They've taken him out.
In the Sunderland squad, we'll go Simon Adingra.
Grealish is correct. So, just waiting on the.
He might be tricking us and going for Dango Quattara at Brentford, but I imagine it's a Sunderland player, and I'm gonna go Simon Adingra.
He's thinking Brentford players.
So it's Dango Quattara.
Is he not on the move as well?
No, he's just come in. He's
just come in.
42 mil. He just landed.
That's right, sorry, yeah. No.
Kevin Shaddy. Oh no, sorry. Shaddy. Yeah.
Oh, you're right. There you go. We got there, as they say. Anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to bring up? Any signings or anything like that? Anything that's going on? Obviously, Garnacho going to Chelsea is big for you.
No, I tell you what I will do just before we leave the building. I'll just flick on and see what the latest is with because there might be news floating around, obviously. Let's have a look here. Simicast looks like he's heading out the door.
On loan, apparently, to Roma.
On loan to Roma, yeah. We'll scroll through a few of these. Bayern looking at Nicholas Jackson.
Yeah.
AC Milan have asked for the deal conditions for Manuel Akanji. They'll obviously be looking to replace the boy Malik Taw, who just signed for Newcastle. Now, I believe they've spent the money on Nkunku, but they'll still need to bring in a centre-back.
Yeah.
Who else have we got here? Victor Lindelof looked like he's about to sign for Fiorentina.
Fiorentina saying that, yeah.
Yeah. Adrian Rabiot close to joining AC Milan.
They're making moves, AC, aren't they?
They are making moves now. Allegri needs a bit of work in that squad, so I'm not really shocked, to be honest with you. Obviously, the boy Nick Voldemort is huge to Newcastle. That's a massive deal. Breaking the club transfer record and stuff like that.
Does that indicate to you that Isaac is imminent?
Well, from what I believe, the talk was Newcastle were always suggesting a certain player was a replacement for a certain player. Now, this kid is seen as a direct replacement for Alexander Isak. He's 6'5". He's very good at his feet, runs the channels, had a super under-21 campaign with Germany, was top goal scorer, was linked heavily with Bayern Munich, but Bayern wouldn't cough up the funds from him, which now looks like it's going to lead Bayern to Nicholas Jackson. But this boy, Voldemort, is heading to Newcastle for big bucks. He will replace Alexander Isak, and I believe Johan Wiese will replace Callum Wilson, who went to West Ham on a free. And I imagine that's how it's going to go.
Is Jackson to Bayern, is it not going to cost similar money? It's not going to be a million miles off. Nicholas Jackson to Bayern Munich from Chelsea.
No, I don't think so.
They want big money for him.
I don't necessarily think it'll get to that level. I don't think it'll get to that level at all, if I'm honest. I think it might get to...
We looked at it, they were talking something crazy like 80 million or something. Mental money.
I think if it gets... You see, again, don't forget there's the discrepancy between the currencies. Because obviously, the lad that's just come in from Stuttgart is 60 million sterling.
Yeah.
But it's 85 million euros. So it's, depending on which one you look at. And if you're comparing two different ones, if you're comparing euro to sterling at times, it will look fairly different.
Yeah.
Who else have we got here? Obviously, Garnacho to Chelsea. I think he'll do a good job there. Who else have we got? Liverpool all ready to go in on Alexander Isak. We kind of knew that was coming.
Apparently, they've launched a 40 million bid as well, and I presume that's Gahey.
Has to be.
They didn't detail it out, but apparently a 40 million bid has been lodged this evening for a player.
Yeah, 20 minutes ago, Besiktas sacked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with immediate effect.
Yeah, we've seen that on the lads.
And then the last update is Anthony Dos Santos from Manchester United to Betis is edging closer. The directors at Betis are trying to get this done as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Which would be, obviously, Garnacho's left the building. Højlund is imminent. How are you, pal? Højlund is imminent, and then Anthony to leave the building as well. So that'll be 3 out, which would be a good start. Sancho still hanging around there, but a lot of the dead wood, Rashford, Garnacho, Højlund, and Anthony all leaving the building. If you get Sancho out the door, get a keeper in, maybe +1, it's a successful enough window for me. But we do need to back up the 3 we've brought in, i.e. the 2 10s and the 9. We need a keeper, solidify things at the back, and we need a midfielder to stop us getting overrun in midfield. Yeah,
absolutely. It's going to be a very interesting 3 days. It's going to be I think a lot of business is going to happen. And are you expecting anything out of the blue? Are you expecting anything weird or wonderful or something big or something?
I think there's always, listen, no one's going to get anything bigger than Alexander Isak, right? Like that's, if that goes in at 130 mil, that's huge. Yeah. I know obviously Arsenal are looking to bring in the boy Pierre Hincapié. Really, really good Colombian centre back. Did phenomenal at Leverkusen. Did play in a back 3, which is the only thing I will say. So has played in the back 3 quite a bit. Sorry, I've just remembered who Forest were linked with earlier. It's just dropped into my head. Remember I said to you?
Yeah.
And it was a boy that Liverpool were linked with last season, a boy from Feyenoord, the boy Gertrude. Remember the centre-back?
Yeah.
And he went to Leipzig, and now Forest have money on the table for him, and it looks like he may end up at the City Ground. That's another phenomenal signing for Forest. Obviously, padding out the squad with Milenkovic and Murillo, because don't forget, you got Carabao, Champions League, FA Cup, and Premier League. You're going to need a big squad.
Forest haven't got Champions League.
Sorry,
Forest,
not Champions League.
They're conference,
yeah, but sorry, they have a European competition.
They have a European competition.
Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
So 4 competitions. They'll have 2 games a week for almost the guts of 8 months. You know, so it'll be busy for Forest. They will need as big a squad, and you want to be able to sit down the boy Milinkovic and the boy Murillo at times, keep them fresh. You know, don't run the legs off them.
Bring in a similar
and
level.
Bring in a level of quality that means things don't drop off. And if he wants to then go and change formation at times and maybe play with 3 centre backs and go with Aina and Williams as the wing backs, you can make it a bit more solid and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, what you make Ted here probably needs to move off this formation. We don't see that happening, do we?
I don't necessarily think the formation is the problem, Ted, if I'm honest.
Would you like to see him change? Would you like to see more in-game stuff?
I'd like to see less rigidity. I'd like to see him be open to suggestion about certain things. However, I don't think the formation is the problem. I think one of the biggest problems we've had since Ruben Amorim has come in the door, and I think this is where I would certainly give him a little bit of breathing space, is you can't account for the amount of individual errors that have cost us football matches in the last 40 games since he's come in the door. Like, that's on another level. If it hasn't been one goalkeeper, it's been the other. If it hasn't been one of the 2 keepers, it's been a defensive blunder. It's been guys missing chances. It's been guys missing penalties. I actually feel, and I said it earlier on in another group, I kind of got called out on it because somebody went, I don't really feel that's true. You know, they talk about how sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. I don't feel like he's had a stroke of luck just yet at all. I really don't. And I think if he could get something to go his way, just get, if you're a striker and you haven't scored in a few games and one goes in off your arse cheek and you claim it and all of a sudden you look like a different player, just feel like you need something to land from.
Do you feel the rigidity of his coaching kind of makes you kind of feel that, like, then you bring that onto the pitch and then players kind of lack that bit of freedom to express themselves a little bit? And I know that can be a dangerous place to be as well. But I mean, do you feel like it's like,
if we look at the performance against Arsenal, did anyone look stifled? Not for me.
No. But what we did say after that as well, even though it was a good performance, but you didn't get out from the game, and we know results based and all that kind of thing as well.
Absolutely.
But we did say going into the Fulham game, then would you see the same? What you said as well, you wanted to see the same thing, but put Fulham to the sword kind of thing.
And I would say for 45 minutes we did, and then I think we made some changes, and it hurt us. And I think he probably learned something there, but you go out against, a weaker team like Grimsby and you think, I'm going to give guys game, time and minutes and let them build themselves up and stuff. And there was no glue to kind of keep it together. And then going the goal down and everyone looking around at each other. And I think that was tough for them. And then obviously the second goal as well, two errors from the goalkeeper for me. People are looking around going, what are we going to do here? Like, every time they shoot, they're going to score, and there's a nervousness in that. I thought to come back and get back into the game and make it 2-2 was great. Again, I thought towards the end, there was no luck. I think there was absolutely...
We've been thought about Garnacho throughout the show.
Yeah, I think hopefully you keep calling them the same names you called him when he was in a United jersey. Might have to dig some of them up for you, actually, Mr. Chelsea. I'm pretty sure you've called him quite a few little names now. We might see if that translates when he pulls on that Chelsea blue.
Blue is now the colour.
Football is the game. Yeah.
Oh, do please.
Yeah, I kind of think like on another night last night, we probably nick it as well. I think the weather situation absolutely didn't help the fact we were on the front foot and we were attacking. We were looking to try and put some speed into the play, and the ball kept catching on the surface. Now, listen, we're both playing in it, but one team it helps because they're defending. The other team harbors because they're attacking. You know, again, looks you too, pal. It just. I think he just needs a little bit of luck. And I know, like, when you're talking about top level sport, luck should have a very little to do with it. But I just think he needs a little rub of the green.
You always need a little bit of luck. Look, if it's
I think so.
European competition, sometimes you need it through the draw. Sometimes you need it with players that you don't suffer too many key injuries or whatever it is. You know, everyone needs a little bit of luck to win. I say it all the time. To win a trophy, you're going to get a little bit of luck somewhere along the line. You know what I mean? And it just happens, stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is and stuff like that. You know. Yeah, that's it. Another show in the bag. I will be back tomorrow night with Kenny for a Liverpool versus Arsenal preview, and hopefully Dino might join us on that. By the way, Grimsby have the best mascot ever. There we go.
Who is he?
He was all over that Grimsby game last night.
I'm sure I'm going to find out about it after this.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you could, folks, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button. A lot of shows coming up over the weekend. So tomorrow night, Liverpool Arsenal preview. And then Sunday, we're doing a watch-along for Clash in Paris. And we may be even doing a watch-along on Monday night for Raw in Paris. Let's see. Let's see what happens.
Sorry, was I right with this Sunday night thing?
Yeah, Monday.
I was right. We did have this.
31st. Yeah, no, we confirmed it on the day.
Right.
We confirmed it on the day. Yeah, so we'll be live on that from about 6:30ish. Bring you a little bit of the pre-show and stuff like that as well. Yeah, he's a fisherman.
I'll take it.
There we go.
Is he a fisherman's friend? Sorry, had to.
There you go. There we go. Right, on to the next one, folks. As I said, subscribe to the channel. Enjoy the football at the weekend. Hope you got what you wanted in the European draws today or tomorrow. And we'll talk again real soon. Cheers. Cheers, bro.
Thanks, pal.